Yo, what's happening, guys? Welcome to a brand spanking new edition of Rave Diaries and Tower Block Tales with yours truly, Uncle Doug's in the motor. Shout out to everyone that watched the last episode and all of the other episodes that you've watched and anything on this channel, basically. Thank you, yeah. To all the new subscribers, welcome. To all you old lot, welcome back. To all the guys that comment on all the Rave Diaries videos, especially, thank you, because I love reading them, I love replying to them, and I say it every time, we're piecing together parts of the same story a lot of the time, so that can only be a good thing. Anyway, on to today's episode. So, because I got my Odyssey sound system jumper on, I felt it was only right to do a bit of a squat party version of Rave Diaries and Tower Block Tales today. So, I haven't got a massive affiliation with the world of squat parties, but I've gone to them and I've played at them. And there was a period in my life when I played at them quite a lot. I won't put a year on today because it was over the course of a few years, but it would have been around about, I don't know, 2010-ish maybe. Round about that period, round about that time, a couple of years either side of that maybe. So I've got a friend, his name's Scoot, right? That's not his real name, obviously, but his name's Scoot. And me and Scoot grew up in the same road. He lived at one end of the road and I lived a few doors down. And we weren't the best of mates as kids. He's a couple of years older than me, but we was never not mates, you know what I mean? We've always said hello to each other. We was always cool. And then when we left school, he's gone in one direction, I've gone the other. And a few years later, we've linked up again. Now, my thing was going to the sort of raves that I went to, and he got right into the squat party side of things, putting on illegal events all over Europe, all over the gaff, in with all the proper squat people and blah, blah, blah. So he's rung me up, you know, obviously I've always DJ'd and he's known that. And then I'd got on to, I would have been on call, I suppose, at the time, yeah. Before the rinse era, the run come follow stuff, I'd gone to call, so I was getting a little bit of a name, but not a name as such. So them squat parties don't run on names. They don't give a shit about who's playing there. Not in terms of who's playing there, but they don't trade off of like putting a flyer out with loads of big names on it, or they never used to. It has happened over the years a little bit more, but it didn't used to be. It was like the squat party people would play and they might invite a couple of their pals. Everyone turns up because the party's what they want to go to, more so than the lineup that they want to see. It's kind of like that in that world, right? But my mate's rung me up and he's like, look, would you like to come and do this fucking thing? Blah, blah, blah. We don't pay people really because we're all the crew that do it together, but there's a little bit of budget for you if you come and do it. So I went and done the first one, and I forget where the first one was that I'd done for him. But when I went there, I loved it. I loved everything about it. I'm a pirate radio kid, innit? So I've gone over there with all my crew, big firm of us. And basically, I'm not going to say you can do what you want because there's security in these places, and these security, you don't want to fuck about with these people. It ain't like security in a club. And obviously all the sound systems and the crew and the people that work, it's a safer environment, weirdly. When you get there, it looks all, crazy and mental. But I would say it's a safer environment than being in a nightclub or at the West End or Romford or something like that, just because everybody's policing it. Now, they're policing for trouble and muggings and stuff like that. They're not overly policing for what everyone's getting up to in the dark, all right? So, of course, there's that side to it. I'm not going to pretend there ain't. But actual pound for pound, anyone who goes over to these places and calls his shit, they end up getting served up themselves and thrown out. So, yeah, it's a thing that looks worse from the outside than when you're on the inside. Anyway, so I've started playing for these things. And I ended up playing, I've probably done 10 or 15 of them over the course of a bit of time. And some were in warehouses and some were smaller than others. Some were massive, some were outdoors. But it always used to fascinate me how they, I know how they get into the buildings and how they, and all of that. Do you know what I mean? But you'd get there and it would just be thousands of people sometimes just going mental in this derelict building that I've driven past loads of times. So the point of this story is, like, I could tell you about all the different ones, but my memory's patchy of all of them. There was a lot going on around that period. But the one I'm going to talk about is, it was I think it was a Carpet Right building. It was over on the A12 by Redbridge Roundabout, in between Redbridge and Gants Hill Roundabout or whatever it is. No, not Redbridge, the one before. If you come off Gants Hill Roundabout and go up, I forget the name of the road. You keep going around, it brings you up to where the A406 is, that bit there. And anyway, there's an industrial estate near the It's like a harvester or something like that near there on the other side of the road in a petrol station. Anyway, not important. I think it was a carpet warehouse. It was fucking massive, this place, yeah. So matey Scooter said to me, do you want to big up the Hub sound system crew? Yeah, because they was looking after me at this point, and I really enjoyed playing for them lot and being involved in that world. So in case I ain't said it before, big up the Hub sounds crew. Yeah, he's like, do you want to play over at this thing? I'm like, yeah. Thing is though, I need to keep saying his real name because I've known him all my life, Scoot. I've got to play early because I've got other things to do that night. And he was like, yeah, no problem. Come over and play the first set if you want to play the first set. By the time you finish that hour, it'll be packed because obviously it works on a day. Press the button and the crowd are waiting around the corner. Everyone turns up at once. So, pardon me. So I get over there and I was with a mate of mine at the time, and they're still setting up. So I go up to the door of this thing and it's all locked off, you know what I mean? Everything's locked off. They're not letting anyone in there. But obviously I'm allowed in, so that knock on the door. Matey comes to the door. All right, Doug lets me in. We're just sort of walking around there. In the warehouse, there's trucks and cars. They're still building the sound. It wasn't ready yet. So no problem. I've got a bit of time to kill, you know what I mean? I haven't got to leave there till whatever, so it's all good. So me and my mate, we go and have a little walk around this warehouse. There's an upstairs bit. While we're upstairs, we're in this office. I just see flashing blues through the window, you know, like the reflection on the wall. So I've looked at this like it was a slat window. So I've done the slats like so I can see down, climbed up on the table, looked out. There's about 10 million old bill outside this place, right? Like they've shut off the motorway, not the motorway. It's the A12, not the A12. It's an A road. It's a big road. They've shut that off, yeah, completely from the roundabout up to the next roundabout. They've circled the whole area because there's people obviously waiting on the outskirts. All the people that are coming away to rave, they're all waiting on the outskirts. The old bill have got wind of this going on. They've now cut off the industrial estate, cut off the road that leads to the industrial estate, and put a bit of a circle around the whole area to keep people out their way. You know, once obviously 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people turn up, it's a lot more for them to try and police. So I'm looking out the window and I'm thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, you know, I don't need this. I'm only coming here to play the first set. I've got other legal work that I'm getting paid for tonight. I don't need to be getting nicked. So, but you know what I mean? What can you do? We're in there. So we're just watching out the window and there's more and more police turning up. By the time we came downstairs, no lie, there was probably 10 or 15 police cars outside and maybe 10 or more SPGs, I don't know what you call it, the big ones, and then a couple of the even bigger ones, like Riot, kind of turnout with the metal shield things on the window. The whole estate was old Bill, right outside the venue. At the time I was driving a little Fiesta, pole position, because obviously I've got there early. All the other cars are in there, they're setting up. They don't want no one outside today. My car is outside the fucking doors of the warehouse with a pair of police cars around it, yeah. So now the police are at the door. My matey and his mates are negotiating with the police, saying to them, basically, piss off. We've got a license to be in this premises. There's nothing you can do. Go away. The old Bill was saying, we're going to come back with whatever they need and blah, blah, blah. You need to leave the premises now. We know what you're doing. So there's this sort of Mexican standoff, and there's me in the middle thinking, fucking, well, I ain't going to get to play the set now that I wanted to play anyway. I just need to get out of here. But obviously, knowing me, I've got oranges on me and nothing else. I mean, I weren't rolling with a load of bits and bobs on me. But I've got a big bag of oranges on me and a long night ahead of me. So I don't really want to lose that. I don't want to leave it in there and walk out. And obviously, I don't want to walk out and get a tug. So basically, over the course of about the next half hour of arguing with the police, what they've come back with a warrant or whatever it is that they need, and what they've said is, if you lot pack up and leave now, we won't nick none of yous. If you turn on the music, if you try and get more people towards the place, if you do anything that we don't want you to do, basically, we're taking these doors off and we're nicking everybody in here and we're confiscating all your equipment. So they're all having a meeting inside. What should we do? What should we do? And to be honest with you, like, I mean, I don't really massively know the rules of the squat party thing, but I guess there's a time when it's game over, innit? You know what I mean? They had actually a backup venue which they moved to and the party went on, but I didn't go there. But you know, there's a time sometimes when you've got to say enough's enough. And so they decided, they made a deal with the police. As long as you ain't going to touch any of us, we'll pack up and we'll leave quietly and all that. So that's my signal to go, innit? So I'm the first one out the door because they're all got to pack down their shit, load up their things, open up the shutters, and all go out in a procession rather than one at a time. But silly bollocks, he wants to just get out because I've got other things to do, and I'm not really part of this thing, you know what I mean? So I got my record bag on me at the time because I was playing records, so I blatantly look like a DJ. I can't hide anything, but in a way that kind of plays in my favour as well, isn't it? Because I'm nothing to do with the running of it. I'm just going to say, look, these guys booked me to do a thing. I didn't even really know what it was that I got here. That was my plan in my head. So my mate's gone to the door and said, look, the DJ that we'd booked to play is leaving. You promised nothing's going to... No, we promised... So I've ballsed my oranges. The door's cracked open. They've had to step back from the door first. They made them step back from the door. They've cracked the door open. Me and my pal have just slipped out. Mate, I had to walk through a procession of like all these old Bill, yeah, they're all just looking at me. And you know they want to nick me, but they don't want to cause... Like, in a way, I was in a blessed position because if they nick me, then the other lot ain't going to trust them. One phone call and everyone's going to descend towards the thing. It could end up in the right. I mean, it probably wouldn't have done, but my point is, like, the police have seen this in the past and it has transpired and ended up like that. So they've got to play the game a bit as well. So I've walked out and it was like Moses, like, parting of the Red Sea. All the old Bill have just parted. And I just walked to my car, got in my little maroon Fiesta, and just bopped out. All the old Bill cars have had to move because obviously they've stopped everyone coming on the estate. That means I can't get off the estate. They've had to part, and then I've pulled out onto the motorway, and that was when I looked both ways. I'm pulling out onto not motorway, but the A road, and I can just see flashing blues up that end, and flashing blues up that end, flashing blues in the garage over the road. Police everywhere, like mad, you know what I mean? So I've just pulled out, trickled off up the road, gone up, fucking count my blessings, got onto the 406, mate, and I was gone up the M1 or whatever I was doing, up to Birmingham or wherever I was heading next. I can't remember, but yeah, fucking, I had a lucky escape that night. But I've done loads of them. I've done more after that. There was another one I went to when it got stopped when I got there, and I bumped in, I think it was Jack Brace. I bumped into someone that I know from the normal world of raves over there, and I walked in with them, and there was old Bill everywhere, and then when I got back, they fucking tugged me in my car, and yeah, I mean, it was all part of the fun though, to be honest with you. I thrive on that, and I did. Maybe not so much now as I'm getting older. I mean, when I'm in the middle of it, I probably love it, but yeah, I thrived on that all my life, you know, that kind of us against them. And them squat parties really played into my my buzz, you know what I mean, for that kind of thing. So, and like I say, we used to get a crew. A lot of them are local, like Barking and Ilford, Redbridge, sort of Canning Town, in and around East London. A lot of them seem to fall. So, all of my lot from Dagenham at the time, who I used to knock about with, we'd get a firm. Sometimes it'd be like 20 of us going over to these things because they could take their own booze, they could have a smoke and do what they wanted. No one's going to come and put their hand on their shoulder and what you're doing and all of that. So we had a right good time at them things. So yeah, shout to all of the squat party crew. You know, it's still a massive scene now. It's always been a huge scene from when Rave begun right up until this present day. I've dipped my toe in the water. I won't pretend that I'm a big part of it or any part of it. In fact, I've played it a few, that's it. But I've got a lot of friends that I won't mention on here that are still very active in it today, and they have a great time, and they don't want to cause any harm, you know, they just want to go and play their music. But obviously in this world we live in, everything has to have a license and rules, doesn't it? Otherwise it's dangerous. But obviously to us lot, we just want to have a party. So yeah, shout out to everyone. I've got to big up the Odyssey crew again because I've got the I got the top on today. Look at this, look, bosh. Yeah, Odyssey, you're done now. 1994 Criminal Justice Act. I got a Criminal Justice Act. I've got a story about that. I was actually at the march for that in 1994, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, peace and love to you all, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. I will be back soon with another episode. Don't forget to comment. I mean, if you've been to Squat Rave, if you're part of that community and you want to comment underneath and tell us your escapades or stories, I will love that. I read them all and I reply to every single one of them, and it builds the story underneath this video. So yeah, squat parties get a bad press, but they're not bad. It just sounds bad, squat, you know what I mean? Squat, even the way it's all sort of portrayed in the press, it's all made to sound bad. They're not bad, man. They're normal people that like to party, not in a conventional way. It's that simple, you know what I mean? Not everyone wants to be bound by rules in a nightclub when you've got to do this and do that. And some people like just going and dancing in a field or in a warehouse and just letting off. So yeah, more power for that. Big up the Squat Party gang. See you on the next episode, guys. Peace and love. Don't forget to subscribe and all of that malarkey. We're out of here, yeah?